Good evening, everybody. It's Monday at 7 o'clock, and it's time for 62 Who Knew at the beautiful studios at We Beam TV in Port Richey, Florida. Before I introduce our guest, who has been here 3 or 4 times before?
4 or 5, actually.
4 or 5 times before? One was a do-over, though. Remember when we had technical difficulties?
Yes.
Only we saw that show, and it was the best one. We were nominated for awards, I think, for that show.
Yeah,
if it only got out to the public. Tonight we bring back Mr. Colin Castle, who is the Regional Vice President.
I'm just VP of our home instead.
VP of Home Instead in-home care, which is the largest in-home care company in the country. I'm still correct in that, right?
Yes. Yes.
And tonight, usually when Colin gets here, we talk about a lot of things, and that it's not always seniors that need in-home care, what you do, how you work with long-term care people, how you work with insurance agents, doctors. We talk about a plethora of things, one of my favorite words.
Yes.
And we always have a great show. But tonight, actually, Colin said to me this morning, why don't we just talk about what's really happening with the coronavirus and this national state of emergency? It is unprecedented. So I'm going to do just a little premise of our TV show for our new listeners, and I'll do it quicker than most, and then we're going to get right to this. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you to our guest last week, I should say, Ms. Laura Banner. Our shows about dementia and Alzheimer's always have incredible reactions from our viewers, and this one did, so thank you, Laura. But what is 62 Who Knew about? Well, at 62 years old, our fathers, their fathers, all had pretty much the same thoughts. Do we need to pay off our house? I mean, we're approaching 62. It's almost time for retirement. Should we have a mortgage? Should we have long-term care insurance? It's not time for Medicare supplements yet. That's 3 years away. But do we need one? Should we still keep our life insurance? Have we saved enough money? Most people haven't. Should we be invested in the volatile stock market? Where should we put our money? Do we take our Social Security now, or do we defer to a later age and keep working? These are all very common questions. Unless you happen to be in the top 1% of this nation's income level, then you don't have to ask those questions. The other 99% of us are all asking those questions. Every generation asks those questions of themselves, their relatives, and their loved ones around them as they approach the age of 62. Well, my generation, I'm 61 and a half, we have a slightly different problem. We have all those same questions, but we have one other obstacle. It sounds like a blessing, but it's actually a double-edged sword. It's a mixed blessing, if you would. We have the blessing, or the mixed blessing, of longer lifespans. Because the odds are in this country, if you make it to 65 years old, just make it to 65, you have close to a 50% chance of making it to 90. And our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents did not have that blessing of longer lifespans. So who knew at 62 you could still be having another 25 or 30 years of life ahead of you? And as I said a minute ago, only 1% of this country is capable of living financially from their early 60s into their 90s without some sort of financial help. Or working past the normal retirement age. And that's why we created 62 Who Knew. It seems to be a topic that has touched people's lives because we're up to a little over 80,000 viewers per week and growing. In the next month, we're going to be also simulcasting this as a podcast. And of course, we hope that tonight's guest will be a regular on our podcast as well. But that's what 62 Who Knew is about. We bring on experts in in-home care, long-term care, Social Security, Medicare supplements, health, cruising, the number one vacation for seniors that everybody's afraid to do right now. We talk about all the things that take you from 62 to the ripe old age of 90 in style and with some peace and peace of mind. So that's what 62 Who Knew is about. So without further ado, we welcome Mr. Colin Castle from Home Instead in-home care. Do we shake hands or do the elbow thing? I often wonder, everybody told me if you cough into your elbow. Yet I don't know, I never cough into my hand. Maybe it'd be safer just to shake hands.
Could be.
So anyway, but we have a lot of questions. You're in this business. You see things that we don't. Mm-hmm. I mean, you were telling me some things right before we went on that that are staggering. I am one of those people that think this is a very real threat, but I also think it's been hyped up by the press to the extreme that I can't buy toilet paper. And I had no idea that's where the virus starts, in that part of your body. I thought it was a lung thing.
So did I.
Yeah, so obviously I was way off there. Toilet paper, but okay. So I do think the press is very, very guilty in causing panic, but I also think this is a very serious pandemic, and we have to be diligent about it. But now, that's a layman, mortgage person, trying to be TV host kind of guy opinion. Now, a healthcare expert's opinion. Tell me what you think.
Well, I think, one, I would expect water to be on shortage, not toilet paper. Not toilet paper. Especially but coming from Florida. I grew up here. I'm not overly, calm. It's no different than going through any other, type of event we've had here in Florida with hurricanes, things like that. I mean, I remember, not to digress, but I remember being in Charlie going, it's hitting Tampa. Right. Oops, right-hand turn. So we were all prepared, and everybody that was outside the cone was not prepared for that event. And I would say this is probably similar in nature. Instead of saying this is the problem, this is going to be the affected, just like we look around and see Seattle and other areas that are more heavily impacted than maybe our state of Florida or even our county, Pinellas or Pasco County. We look at it and go, we should all be prepared for it. So why I know there's a lot of coverage to it, but I also know that if we look at the worldwide, the statistics are staggering with it. And it did start in one country over in China, but it is actually, I think it's actually impacted Italy more than it has China. I mean, that if we look at the news cycle, that country's pretty much effectively shut down with it. So it is spiked. But there's just shy of 170,000 cases in the world today.
It's a big number.
Including 6,600 deaths. Now that, you can talk about, that's probably a lot of people that aren't diagnosed either, so that number could be a lot higher.
And how many people died of maybe they thought something else?
Again, I think this is the iceberg. We're only looking at the tip portion of it, of what it really could be with it, because I don't think this just magically showed up as a personal opinion on it. But I do believe it's here, so we have to be prepared for it.
Yes.
And we have to take it serious with it. So why do you think there's some hype and some panic? I think the big thing is the idea is to remain calm and kind of limit your exposure where you can, be smart where you can. If you are sick or feeling sick, just stay home, keep away from people, but you don't have to isolate yourself completely with it. And it impacts what concerns me more than anything. It's really the seniors for us.
Yes.
It's just making sure that they're not impacted beyond a point where, it really has a high impact on their health and their well-being with it.
Well, and it's funny, I don't really consider myself a senior, but at 61 years old and asthma, my children today said, I can't believe you went to somebody's house to write a mortgage, and now you're going to the studio to do a show. Dad, whether you like it or not, you're in the group that's in danger. And I probably am going to work from home this week. Again, I don't know if that's being overly cautious, but why not? I'm capable of working from home, thank God. But there's so many people that are not. In my favorite restaurant that I eat in several times a week, which, by the way, is Benedict's, with 4 locations in Dunedin, Clearwater, Largo, and Pinellas Park. It is my favorite place to eat.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Many of the young waitresses are single moms, and granted, this week is spring vacation, so they planned for their child to be off, but they didn't plan to be off for another 2 or 4 weeks. How are they going to do daycare? How are they going to pay for that and still get to their job? And when all presidential candidates, I don't want to get political, get on and go, don't you worry, we're going to figure out a way that you don't miss a paycheck and you don't miss a mortgage. That's bullshit. The government's going to send these people money? I don't think they are.
Well, they're going to have to address that, and I hope they do address it without also, causing small businesses like ourselves and franchise systems like ourselves any employer to actually foot the bill initially. So hopefully they'll come up with some sort of program and relief for all of us. Luckily, knock on some wood here in Florida and particularly Pinellas County, we've not have the outbreak that others have. We're not in the New York and the Chicago area, and New Jersey and Connecticut, where they're shutting down bars and restaurants.
They're getting ready to do that now, though. Did you hear that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the realities of that statement is.
It looks like Tampa may be closing down all bars and clubs at 10 p.m. rather than 3. And again, think of the owners, the bartenders, the waitresses, the dishwashers, everybody that's involved in that. I always stop at Chili's on my way here.
Correct.
I don't get any money for plugging Chili's. Don't you think they should send me a check every now and then? Sometimes I sit here
Free
with Chili's,
appetizer, at least a free appetizer.
Something, some crispers, some chicken crispers. But there was almost no one there. My favorite server told me she had 3 tables in the last 5 hours, and they're thinking of closing down altogether till this passes. And quite frankly, my mortgage company, with the stock market being decimated, rates have gone from the high 3s to the high 4s. Now, that's still great rates. It's funny how young people don't know that. Oh, my God, rates are so high. I was in business when it was 18. There's nothing wrong with the 4s. Please keep buying houses and borrowing money and getting mortgages. But the person that I qualified 3 weeks ago at 3 1/4, the fact that I have to tell them they're 4 3/4 today, and they look at me and go, "What did I do? Why?" You didn't do anything. No one expected this. This is very far-reaching. I've never been through this, and even Black Monday, this didn't happen.
Yeah, on a personal note, I'm not even looking at my 401k. I don't want to.
Oh no, don't look, because it'll come back.
I don't even want to. I'm just ignoring that completely because I'm petrified, and I don't want to get.
Oh yeah.
Blood pressure rise on that number.
And this would be another show entirely. We don't want to get too much into this, but every billionaire in the country shorted airline stocks, shorted cruise stocks. There's lots of people making billions on this, while the little business guy suffers. And
correct.
I've said so many times on this show, when I bleed red, white, and blue. This is the greatest country. I don't care who's president. I don't care which side's winning. This is the greatest country in the history of history. But our system has become corrupt, and we have to fix it.
It is. I'm still a defender of the American dream. And,
absolutely.
I don't have to, this is not in no way, shape, or form of a plug for Home Instead, because
No, I know.
My wife was the lifeblood of this. Still is the lifeblood of our business. I was lucky enough to meet her and be able to leave my career to help her with this business. But when I heard the story of how Home Instead happened, I always tell people, don't ever think the American dream was around, because 25 years ago, even that seems like a long time. A couple was sitting around the table similar to this, discussing how they were going to take care of mom with children, full-time jobs, and everything else, and that translated into
Isn't that amazing?
A multinational,
that gives me the chills.
16-country, business that has turned into one of the largest home care company, in the United States. So I tell people that the dream is never dead.
And I don't want to emulate Don King in any way, but only in America.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, look. I mean, I've said this before. I have a relative that is, fighting cancer, and my sister and I and all of us were taking turns staying with him in the hospital. And after a few weeks, we were all exhausted. We were just exhausted. And a great hospital. I'm not mentioning it, but a great hospital. But I am a believer, living through some things with my mom and dad, that you do have to have somebody there with you. The nurses are great, but you're not their only patient. Your loved one is not their only patient.
Correct.
And there is nobody better than nurses. What a great group of people.
It is.
And we just didn't know what to do. We were all, I'm in my 60s. My daughter, my sister and son-in-law, brother-in-law are about 10 years older than me. And what did I do? I called you. And an hour later, a person that we knew we could trust was there to sit with this family member, and we all we just all looked at each other and went, "Wow!" I mean, that was incredible.
Well, it was a nice surprise nice surprise in the fact that you did reach out, but unfortunately the circumstances. I always say it's weird because I had to do a similar call with a different type of referral person. One I didn't want to call, but I had to, and surprised him when I had to call him at 2:00 in the morning with it. But he recognized my need and immediately
it's amazing
jumped through hoops to help me out at 2:00 in the morning. So it was fantastic. No, I was not arrested, not bail. It was unfortunately the passing of my brother.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, but a great friend helped me, with that situation because I had no place to turn with it and didn't have any really plans. So it's nice to have people that you do trust and you can reach out to. So I appreciate you thinking of me in that same manner.
You have no idea how you help the family. And God forbid something does happen in Pinellas County and it does get worse. I mean, let's face it, your company is going to be where people run to.
Well, we hope. I think it's going to be a situation where all the facilities, be it a nursing home, an ALF, or an independent home care, we're all going to have to be together to make sure we provide quality care to all our residents, because the whole health system is going to be taxed. Right. With this, it actually already is, even in a ways here in Florida where we don't have a ton of cases, but it's already taxed because of some executive orders. I mean, if you're not aware, the most ALFs and nursing homes are locked down. They're not allowing any visitors.
I knew some of them. I didn't know most of them. That's
Florida, Governor DeSantis did an executive order waiving a number of statutes, but allowing only exceptions, direct care workers, like for us to go in and take care of family that lives in there, family that might be on palliative or some palliative or hospice care or end of life care. But other than that, you're not allowed to even visit your healthy mom or dad because they don't want those outside exposures with it. And I, as much as it's a tough thing to digest, I respect it.
Yes.
Simply because of the stats that are out there. And one of the things I was talking, and it is public knowledge, but it's kind of scary in the thought of what happened to the Kirkland, Washington area.
Yes. Tell our viewers about that, because I wasn't aware of it. I was aware there was a situation, but not that high percentage.
I think that's what resonates with me on a personal basis, and why I take this serious, because one, I get to see what our seniors are like every day, even with yourself with asthma, or someone that has COPD or anything compromised of the lungs or chest area. That concerns me, because in Kirkland, California, where they had one of the original outbreaks, they had a nursing facility there that had a large influx of positive tests. And unfortunately, they've lost, I believe the last count was 19, I believe it might even be 20 now, out of 120 residents that were at that facility. So that's a pretty high attrition.
It's 1 out of 6, that's amazing.
It's slightly over 15%. And then they have another 31, residents that are positive for the coronavirus as well. So when you look at, in totality, almost 50% of their population either has and had passed from it. So it is concerning for me, and I do appreciate Governor DeSantis taking the action to close those institutions down and only allow essential personnel in. And it's nice. We're again, it's a burden, yes, but I believe it's a safe burden on the side of safety. They're asking questionnaires. They're taking the aides' temperature prior to entering. We're doing an effort to try to see if any of our aides have traveled, any of our aides have been anywhere, and eliminating them until the time frame has come to pass. But they're screening before they go in, so they're trying to be due diligent, but they're also trying not to take the care away from our seniors that absolutely need it. So while it is a little bit of an inconvenience for everybody, I think I won't say to be politically correct, but no one wants to be the one.
That's right.
No one wants to be that one facility or community that
was the petri dish of starting it.
Correct. Here in Pinellas County or in Florida, no one wants to be that.
Well, and let's face it, we are the the retirement capital of the United States. Our average age of a person in the state, you probably know, is like 112 or something like that.
Not quite there yet, but yes.
A lot of compromised lungs are out there. A lot of compromised lungs. I'm two of them. So let me ask you a question. I have a lot of questions, but this one's a selfish one.
Sure.
I mean, I just happened to have a checkup with my doctor a couple of weeks ago. My lungs I have asthma, but I'm breathing fine. Life is great. Let's say, I'm overweight, which is obvious. The camera adds 10 pounds, and just so you know, there's 5 cameras. That's why I look 50 pounds overweight. The camera adds a lot of weight. I'm overweight. But besides that, I feel damn good for my age.
Absolutely.
If I were to contract this, is it a death warrant?
I can't actually honestly.
I know you doesn't say MD.
Yeah, definitely not MD, and I wouldn't even garner. I think the things that we're telling our caregivers and our clients, if you're feeling, the same symptoms we've heard on the TV, things of that nature. If you have a fever, if you're starting to get, above 100 degrees and fever, if you're getting shortness of breath, if you're getting a cough and you're really not, it's dry and it's really, a dry cough, those are times to one, for our employees, call us, stay home, isolate yourselves, things of that nature. If we're noticing that in our clients, we're actually taking the initiative to call the Department of Health in Pinellas County, let them know, try to get them tested. Because a lot of the seniors we serve either have no family,
That's right.
or they're lower income, some of our clients in that. So we have a pretty diverse group of clients from veterans to people on Medicaid to private pay to, so we have everywhere in between. But, we take those same precautions when we go and visit our clients with it. But you just have to, take care of yourself when it comes to that and, understand how you're feeling, and then based upon how you're feeling,
Go get tested.
well, at least check, go see your doctor,
Right.
reach out to your doctor, don't panic, big thing. As I'm one of those believers,
Don't
stay calm.
panic, yeah.
Correct. It's stay calm, find help, find resources, try to figure out if you can get tested, and just
Check and see how much toilet paper you have. Yeah, it's got to be on the list.
Run to the store.
Run
Correct.
to the store, buy toilet
Yes,
paper.
by TP. But I think that would be it. I don't know. I would say I'm more worried, like I said before, on our seniors. So we're trying to be very cautious with our caregivers and our staff to screen them every day, talk to them every day, try to ensure that we are being as proactive as we can and eliminating as much risk as we can, because we do still need to visit our clients. Many of
that's
them
right.
are
They're depending on it.
med reminders, meals to be cooked, houses to be straightened up and cleaned, groceries, to be purchased, not just TP, but actually things they have to eat.
That's right.
Things of that nature. So we have to keep busy going with it. So hopefully, this will pass sooner than later, but until then, we have to, take the precautions as they come and be diligent and professional about them.
Now, when you get tested for the flu or things like that, it's a swab in your nose or a swab in your mouth or whatever. Is it that simple? Are all doctors, like, I have my allergies and I'm coughing. It's a loose cough. I have it every year at this time. I'm not worried about having the virus. Let's say it wasn't a loose cough. Can somebody go to their doctor and say, look, I have a dry cough. I'm having a little problems breathing. Are they going to be able to test for the coronavirus? Because depending on what I read online, they're saying that there's a total shortages of tests.
Yeah, I would have to defer to what is on the news and what I know. We don't have any cases here in Pinellas County, so I would, or in Pasco where I am, that I'm aware of. I know Pinellas we don't. From that standpoint, the recommendation is to reach out to the CDC. They have a Department of Health. Pinellas County has a hotline. Matter of fact, I can find it here and let everyone know. But if not, call the CDC. They have a hotline.
Right.
They can point you in the right direction, get you where they need to be. I know they're actively, listening to the president speak today. I know they're actively trying to get more test kits, mobile, get them out into the community, drive-throughs, things of that nature. But again, I haven't seen or seen it here in our area. I've heard they've been going to the hardest hit areas first. But
I learned today that the hospital in Tarpon Springs, and the name just escapes me.
Oh, what was Helen Ellis is now it's part of
the big chain.
Advent.
They've set up a command center and they are testing people.
Okay,
I just heard that today, and of course you saw that mob scene in the airport. Oh my God! So much for staying 10 feet away or 6 feet away. I mean, whoa, that was incredible.
Yeah, that would on a personal note, that was my talking to my stepdaughter, trying to not get her to travel, because like I would say most of us when we were younger, things like this, we're healthy, we're invincible, indestructible, taking advantage of low cost airlines. Yes,
he's not getting it.
Yeah, trying to convince her to take this for serious, because we don't know enough, and that's why I don't even say the experts know. We don't know enough to make a determination of it's not going to do this or not going to do that. So I was just my daughter. I was just like, listen, be careful. let's not do that. I don't think it's safe to travel. Not to mention it's the headache, because I think they're going to lock down.
Yes.
Personally, I think they're going to lock down air travel.
Yeah, they have
immensely.
To. And what is that going to do to the stock market? How many people is that? This is, I think you said it before, these exact words, and it's so true. This is an iceberg, and we're really, really just seeing the little teeny tip of. I hope not too, but if they would have locked down the airlines, I can't guess how many tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people not going to work.
Correct.
Again, how are they going to eat? How are they going to make their mortgage payment? How are they going to pay for their kids' college? A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck.
It's so including our caregivers. We understand that greatly. Our seniors are
most certainly waiting for the
Social Security check. They're waiting for other people. They need other people to help them with their lives, be it Meals on Wheels, be it the nurse practitioner, be it their doctor. We have to worry about our healthcare workers as well, not just our caregivers, but also our healthcare workers as well.
These guys are like, superheroes walking into the den of germs.
Absolutely.
And they're not in hazmat suits.
No.
I mean, these people are walking in to their normal clients, their job, but we've talked about this before. Healthcare workers have such hearts. I mean, they're a rare. My mortgage people are great people, but they're not healthcare workers.
No.
Very few people are. What incredible mindsets they have.
Yes.
And here they're walking in, again, not in a hazmat suit, but I'm sure they're wearing gloves for normal reasons, but what incredible people. And there's really nothing we can do to really protect them other than put them in a hazmat suit, which is absurd.
Yes.
But here they go. It's like the firemen running into the burning building.
Correct.
It's just really amazing to think of these people.
And on a personal note, I know a number of friends of mine that are nurses that are even traveling and leaving this area and going, like you said, running straight towards the fire instead of away from the fire. But that's what makes those individuals unique, just like what it makes a firefighter or a police officer unique. Those individuals run towards the danger instead of away from them. So I'm proud to call them my friends and colleagues of mine with it. But you're right, a lot of it's trying to take precautions with it. We're doing the same thing, with our caregivers, as we're masks, gloves. We have.
Are they wearing masks?
Hopefully, ample supply of it.
Are they wearing masks from the time they walk in?
If they're asked to, or if they want to, gloves absolutely. we're definitely promoting the personal protection devices. So they have choices of gloves, mask, gown, so they can try to use whatever precautions they feel. We're encouraging at minimum mask and gloves, depending on the client and the situation, the full PPE type personal protection cover and for some clients. But we leave that up. And also some of the clients have told at least personally, my staff here locally, be prepared.
Yeah.
If a client asks you to wear gloves, even you're not symptomatic or they're not symptomatic, it's just
say yes.
Have it in your bag, bring it out, and make them feel at ease.
Yeah, because I do think a lot of this is keeping the panic away.
Correct.
Yeah, because I don't know if stress brings on the coronavirus, but it certainly brings on everything else.
Correct.
And let me ask, just popped in, well, it's funny, you mentioned three heroes, Superman would be the fourth, firemen, policemen, healthcare people, running to the fire, and yet they're three people that just don't get paid that well. That's, again, another show to discuss that, but the three groups of amazing heroes. They're not doing it for the money.
No.
Let's face it, they're not doing it for the money.
No, I've never been shy with my personal opinion on it. Our world is a very, not to quickly snip it, our world is very much a linear world, unfortunately, with trying to create a livable wage for caregivers. And it's unfortunate because, for whatever we have to, about 55% of our costs right off the bat is just for a caregiver to walk in the door.
That's right. Yeah.
So if you think we have to be linear, so we also, my wife, every time we have to do a rate increase, we had to do one this year because the supply and demand world.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have, wages are rising in our industry. So, but my wife hates every time she has to do a wage increase. And I've told you this before, because every time she feels that she has to, raise rates $1 or whatever it might be, that is $1 that she's taking away, from a senior's nest egg or whatever they're paying from, or son or daughter.
Yeah.
And it's tough, but if we're going to recruit and hire good talent, and to me that's what we're trying to do, no matter if it's our caregivers, a nurse, a fireman, or a paramedic, or a police officer, any of those folks, they're trying to hire good, talented people that care and that, like you said, will run towards the fire, not away from the fire. And it's unfortunate, though, that we have to do those things. And my wife, hates it, but it's unfortunately it's a linear inevitability in our world.
You have to do it to stay in business and to help the people.
Correct.
It's just I bet
it's tough. It bugs her every time we have to do it. But we have to ensure our caregivers are getting paid, a livable wage and things of that nature.
It'd be nice if it was more than a livable wage. And we have certain groups in the country, and we can discuss this a little without being political. That thinks we need to take the minimum wage, or what is minimum wage? $7.25, $7.35, something like that.
Oh no, actually
know.
it's $8. It's
really?
$8.45, I think.
Well, there's a certain group that would like to take that to $15. They call it a livable wage. And I'm mixed on that. I have to say that I'd like to see everybody have a livable wage. But the definition of minimum wage is not livable wage. Minimum wage, as I'm sure you know, was created so that part-time student many, many years ago, part-time woman just going to work many, many years ago, was not taken advantage. It was never created to support a family of four on. And it's somehow been morphed into, how can a person at $8.50 an hour support a family of four? That's not what it was designed for. That being said, it hasn't gone up in 10 years, 10 years?
No, it's actually gone up.
I think we have, but I think the national is like $7.65 or something, and states get to do what they want.
Correct. Yeah, Florida's creeped up here and there, and there's measures that are out there that could creep it up even more with it, but. Just for the record, everybody out there, we don't pay minimum wage.
I know
we're above minimum wage. We're just to clarify that there. With it.
I just what worries me, and I'd like to get your opinion, because you deal with people on fixed incomes. You take something, you take the McDonald's worker or the Chick-fil-A worker or the person that's making straws, whatever it may be, the mall worker. This is the heart of our country. You take them from $8.50 to $15. Suddenly a Big Mac, instead of being $3, is $3.50. Suddenly a small soda, instead of being 90 cents, is $1.20. It's not going to stop me from getting a Happy Meal.
No.
But the lower income people who this was supposed to help, I'm not sure if they'll be helped, because everything else is going to be raised.
Correct.
So, and I could be off on that.
No,
I just don't know.
Cover this up and go. Colin Castle's, personal opinion is.
You want to do a disclosure? This is Colin Castle's personal opinion and does not reflect any corporations whatsoever that he may be connected with, or his wife, or his children, or anybody they pay franchise fees to.
Thank you for that. I think it's a much broader topic. I get accused of having, probably too many sides that look at it, so I think this is not a linear question. It is a multifaceted, layered approach to fix that problem. It's not, I use our industry as very simple. So if we have to pay $15 an hour and 55% of our, cost is associated to caregivers, anyone can take that math and figure out what our hourly wage is going to be that we have to pay. Because with the remaining, we have to pay our office staff, our rent, and we're in business to make a little bit of money.
Are your people 1099 or W-2?
Our people are W-2s.
So you have to double the Social Security, the future. So there's another 12%
correct
that nobody ever thinks about.
Correct. Workers' compensation, this is a industry that is highly looked at as a high risk.
Yeah.
So I won't tell you what our premiums are, but it's not small.
Yeah, like
with
in
it.
my industry, what do you get, a paper cut? When you're writing a mortgage,
Correct.
big deal.
Correct. So it has a lot to it that folks, again, don't look at it that way. So why I do respect that, I do think some industries, that's why when I say it's a linear, some industries it's linear, you're right, Big Macs may cost more, but I also think they preemptively cut into that idea with the fact that you're, when you're walking to McDonald's today, you have a machine you
That's why
take
they're
your
doing it.
order from.
Oh, yeah.
You go into Home Depot now,
Publix.
which personally I like better at Home Depot as a personal level.
Really?
Because I can scan things much faster.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But that's not for everybody.
I don't use the self. It's a thing to me because I know that's putting people out of work, and maybe I am old fashioned. It's just terrible. It's like these little things that are on the chain restaurants tables now, where you do your check, you
Correct.
order your stuff, and the server comes out and is so happy. And I never say it, but I go, "You do know this thing is going to replace you. They are training you to train the client to get you fired," and that may be progress, but
It's one of those things that it is, but that's sort of when I talk about the multifaceted approach to it. When people only look at that, they're not looking at the other things about how to, educate our folks better, give them more opportunities out there, things of that nature. I'm benefit of a big proponent of tax relief for the smaller mom and pops, things of that nature. Because we are the lifeblood of America and our employees. We employ, as many folks we employ over 200 folks in Pinellas County. So we're one of the larger employers that no one knows about. And they don't look at us that way, don't want to really look at it that way in a lot of ways, simply because we're still a local organization. Right. We just happen to employ a lot of folks, but it's not looked at the same way. Versus Jable Circuits in our area, so on and so Raymond James, things of that nature. So on that whole minimum wage, to me it's a multifaceted approach, and we're trying to take a very much a linear look at it. And to me, there's so many things that have to go into that, and just because you go to 15 doesn't mean it's going to magically solve.
Exactly. I'm just worried about the small businessman. Now, again, you're right. It isn't linear. Because like in my office, processors, loan officers, we don't have anybody near minimum wage. But for the company that has minimum wage people, or for the great little company that says, I don't pay minimum wage, what is it, $8.50? I'm at 10. I'm at $10.50. They're forced to go to $15. It's just rough. I mean, the reality or do they lay off people?
Correct. Well, but think also with that in that you get to 15. And now you have someone that has a degree, even at a low side, a CNA or an LPN. You're putting pressure on where their wage is going to be as well. Because if you think it's going to be 15, it's not.
Right.
It's going to be elsewhere.
That's right.
And I view, back to the original topic also of this is I kind of view the way we handle the outbreak, the coronavirus is very similar to my thought. It's multifaceted, so we have to take a multifaceted approach to it. Be smart, be diligent in what we do. Don't panic. Stay calm. Take the precautions that we can. Limit our risks as much as we can.
Right.
But without shuttering ourselves in our homes.
Yes.
And locking the doors and buying, a month's worth of rations and toilet paper to survive for that month, because that's I don't think that's going to
panic never helps anything.
Correct.
No matter what we're trying. Something just came to me as you were speaking. Do you? And this may be a weird question. Do you have any health care people, let's say like me, in their 60s, that are a bigger risk that you need to say to? At your age, you may be a bigger risk than your that could be age discriminatory. I'm thinking like a businessman. But I've seen healthcare workers in their 60s and 70s that are just so nice, but they really are at a big risk out there.
From, again, personal perspective, to me, this current disease has a much higher, issue related to our senior population. I mean, the statistics out there, again, this is fairly fluid. but over the age of 65 has a much higher, it's almost double than the normal rate. And if you're above 80, you're in a 15% category of mortality rate. So I don't want to get into that, but any senior, I would say any of our seniors, no matter what your health is, just by our natural aging process, having something like this could, if not, have a really bad effect, could have a diminishing effect.
Yeah. Well, let's face it, like you said, the way we live, above 80, almost any infectious disease is going to affect an 80-year-old and above more than a younger person.
Correct.
It could be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
Well, we've talked even, we talked about, in many shows before, just what we try to avoid is with the seniors that we are with that are a little bit more independent and they just need a little bit of help, is we try to avoid those large events, because those large events are the ones that take you from independence to not independent.
Those are the heartbreakers, yeah.
Correct. And then as you age and you go for that second, that's when you go from being less dependent and you move through the cycle, and unfortunately, the mortality is at the end of that cycle.
Yeah.
So I would say the same thing. It could be any one of those phases. It could be the one thing that may get you a little bit higher, need and care. Unfortunately, it could be so take precautions as you can with it, and try to be diligent, and make sure you're cleaning your home. Make sure you have the supplies. Make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah. Don't go out if you don't have to. I didn't say that a week ago, but now I'm saying it.
Yeah, don't go out if you don't have to. I mean, it's I said it before. It's a little bit of short-term pain for a long-term gain.
That's right.
Because I definitely don't want to see. I don't want to have a situation happen in other states happen in my backyard.
Yeah.
I think that's something that can be avoided. And for us living in America, I'm one of those guys that would say that it should never happen here.
That's right.
It should a lot of things we have should never happen here, because
that's for sure.
We are the greatest country on the planet, and we should have the resources and the wherewithal to beat back most any situation. So
I agree.
I would definitely, like I said, calm, but absolutely take the precautions you need to take, and stay vigilant and
calm
be careful.
but vigilant.
You're absolutely
All
right.
right, so the time goes so quick, it's ridiculous. John, could we bring up the website, please? Colin's website? Alrighty dighty. So let's get away from the coronavirus just for a second as we bring up your website, or include the symptoms of the coronavirus. Sure. When people are with their moms, their dads, themselves, their aunts, their uncles, and they see certain things and they need to call you, what's the best way? Website? Number? He's working. I hear the clicking. It's coming up any second.
Yeah, no matter where you are locally here in Pinellas County or anywhere in the world, since you have such a diverse following now. I can, a little anecdote. I can remember when we were happy to, see a few thousand.
Remember that
folk, because I was on the first couple.
I just can't wait to get to 100,000.
Yeah, no. Now you're really sprinting
and
towards the big number. Correct. So this is our local website here that serves Pinellas County. Obviously, you can see the number there. But if you live elsewhere, you're more than welcome to go to just simply www.homeinstead.com, and that'll bring you to one of our national websites, and you can type in your zip code, and that will bring you to the local office that'll serve your area. And then the best way, personally, is I like to pick up the phone. There's normally an inquiry specialist on the other end. You can have a nice conversation with them about services and rates and how the local home instead office can help you and your loved one in your area. With us, Ashley's a great person. She's my service inquiry. She's a very compassionate person. She has wonderful kids at home. She actually is a Kathy, and you've heard me say that before. Yeah. She actually has an elder parent, and one of the things that she attracted us to her was that when she was looking, she came across us. Didn't end up going down a path of choosing a home care company. They did it with family, but it resonated so much for her. She actually came back and asked for a job.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was fantastic.
Yes.
So now she's actually our service inquiry specialist. So she talks to all the families that call in or fill out a web inquiry form to get information and have that conversation with about what's appropriate. Is it appropriate now?
Right.
to even consider this with it.
Which is what I really want to close with, although we still have a good 10 minutes, so
yeah.
we're fine. Now, national state of emergency totally aside, I still think there's there's this idea that you call for in-home care when mom can't get off the couch, and I know you do call for that, but there's all sorts of phases. You had mentioned, cook meals, helping to help, not just doing shopping, maybe taking them shopping. When I thought of home health care, before I met you, quite frankly, I thought when I'm not capable of doing something, that's when I need a professional. But the truth is, a lot of times with caregivers, especially when they're the family, they're not professionals. But we talk about this, and I talk about this with my long-term care experts also. Caregivers, when they're not professionally trained, I'm taking care of my mom, I'm taking care of my dad, whatever they are, because they love them so much. Caregivers suffer. Caregivers, their jobs suffer, their income suffer, their emotion, and I never have the figures, and that's probably why I'm not on some major station. But sorry, John, no insult intended. But the statistics of caregivers that predecease is the person they're caring for. The first time I heard it, I had chills for 30 seconds. Tell us a little bit about all the things your company can do. It's not just helping mom to the bathroom.
No. I look at it. I look at home care, specifically what my wife and I offer in Pinellas County, and Home Instead does nationally and worldwide, countrywide and multiple countrywide.
Universal.
Yeah.
Galaxy. They're in the Klingon Empire right now, taking care of people.
Absolutely. Probably an alternative universe to this.
Vulcans live to be like 250, so you're probably booming now.
Totally distracting. No.
It's my job as host.
Absolutely. Get your guest offline.
That's right.
Off topic. Quickly. Really, I look at it as very similar. Or very simply. What we're there is an extension of them. So a lot of times, when I talk to families, it's not that we're going to come in and take over, or you need to have us in when mom has to have, us transfer her or use a gait belt or help with ambulation walker or cane,
right.
Things of that nature. It could be in the front side, because what I look at is we're assisting the mom or dad to enjoy their independence longer. So I look at it and we're stretching that phase of independence as far as we humanly can stretch it before the body and just doesn't allow it any longer. So I tell if they can do it and they have the need, have us come in when mom is first starting to see those signs. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be in there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can start out with 3-4 hours a day, a couple of times a week, where we are still keeping mom independence. We take, as I look at it and go, evaluate the risk factors. Driving, getting up in the morning, getting ready for bed at night. Those are the high risk. Falls. Those are those high risk areas. How can we step in and help during those high risk times that can, again, extend that life of independence that mom or dad, grandparents is achieving? And then as we move into expending that life, that life cycle of independence, we can then move into more advanced care when we happen to become maybe incontinent, or we have dementia, or we have Alzheimer's, and now we're in sort of another phase, still independent, still not having to go to a nursing home or an ALF. You're still in similar surroundings. Your home, it's your stuff, it's your pictures on the wall, it's your memories. I understand the facilities and the ALFs, everything serves a purpose.
Yeah.
But I'm absolutely not just working from home instead. I'm still
people live longer at home.
Stay at home as long as you can.
Yes.
It's my own thing. It's my stuff.
Yeah.
I want my remote control.
That's
I want
right.
my lazy boy. I want my seat.
My favorite Publix cashier.
Correct. I want that as long as possible to enjoy it. So we're there to help that. But we also, will help when time comes for the larger care, when we need to engage one of our CNAs, certified nursing assistants, or we might need to engage our RN. We're able to, take the client and the family through the next potential phase, and unfortunately, sometimes all the way to end of life.
Right.
But I think that's also a key part of is when we are at end of life, that we do have folks like ourselves and the great folks at hospice to get people through that time and take the burden off of the family and just let them, and as I tell families, be the son or daughter. Just be the...
Don't be the healthcare provider. Be the son or daughter.
Do the son or daughter, be the grandson, be the granddaughter, visit with mom, visit with dad. Let us handle the care. Let us do all that heavy lifting. You just be there and enjoy, what you have with your parents or your grandparents, and let us in hospice handle the rest.
When you use the words, expand their time of independence, obviously I have no expertise in your frame of work or in your line of work, just as when I have a doctor on international long term, I never have expertise in the person sitting there, but I do have expertise, in taking care of my dad. And you've told me some personal stories. And I'll tell you, when he was told that his congestive heart failure was going to shorten his life, I'd say his emotional level, was here. But when he was told he would probably never bowl again, because he bowled from the 1930s till 2004, and he died in 2005, was his thing. When he was told he probably shouldn't drive anymore, when the independence, and here's a 6'1" guy, ex-POW, highly decorated World War II veteran, the real guy kind of thing. I'm not half the man he was. He was a great example of the greatest generation. That loss of independence crushed me, crushed him, crushed everybody. And he wasn't an emotional guy because that age bracket wasn't. But I remember when I said to him, should I sell the car? And he went, look, I know they told me I should never, ever drive, and I won't put my life at risk. But this was my dad. Sell it when I'm dead. Just let it sit. Let the keys sit there next to yours. Maybe I'll make a comeback. And I went, all right. I mean, I felt...
It's a mindset.
Yeah. Expanding that independence towards the end of life is worth more than almost expanding their life.
Correct.
I guarantee you, if you brought my dad back and said, because he died just before his 82nd birthday, and I guarantee you, if you said to him, you'd have to die at 80, 2 years early, but you'd be driving, bowling, going to your grandkids' karate lessons, going everywhere till the day you died. He'd say, fine, take the 2 years off the top.
Correct. Because those are things that are important.
Yeah. I've never heard anyone put it like you just did, expanding the independent part of their life. That's the key. It did. Look at this. I mean, you can see it. I got goosebumps.
That's the key. That's the key for us. Is we want that. We want that segment. At least, I would say for most of us that do this for a living, and not just Home Instead, but other providers, we're there to extend that portion because we want to be able to. Just because mom can't drive doesn't mean she can't go see her friends.
That's right.
Bingo or the bridge club or going bowling. Maybe it's just because he can't drive or his vision.
Right.
But you know what? He doesn't care if he doesn't care if he throws a gutter ball or not.
Yeah, just be there.
He's just hanging out with his friends and doing the things and seeing the people that he likes to see every day. Then that's worth more than getting that strike. It's just that being able to be out and still feel that you're having fun, that you're being engaged, you're having...
That you're still living.
That's right. You're still living and enjoying life versus sitting at home, waiting for the shot clock to expire.
Yeah.
Absolutely, our job is to get you out of that home and get you out into the community and enjoying life.
That's an incredible job.
Still doing other stuff, that you have to do, but...
Yeah, but still, that's an incredible job.
It's a nice... It's definitely... It's fulfilling.
I was just going to say, as aggravating, I'm sure, as it can be, and frustrating, it has to be amazingly fulfilling. You got to go home with a smile on your face.
It does. We have a number of clients. I like it when we get our cards from our clients that talk about what we meant and what we did. And I see our caregivers. So absolutely, sometimes a little too much grief counseling at times, but it is it's what we have to do to help our caregivers and our families through tough times.
Absolutely. All right, 2 things that we've been trying to do. 1, get a caregiver to come on with you. So maybe the next time.
Absolutely.
2, and although we thoroughly enjoy having you, we would love to have your wife come on. So you're going to stay home with the kids one night, and she's going to come without you.
Julie, if I can convince Julie to do that, I'm more than happy.
Is Julie watching?
She may or she may not be. I'm not sure.
Take care. Julie, if you're watching, you have to come on. You have to come on. He's adorable, but something tells me you're better. We like them.
She is.
Yes.
She is. She puts up with me, which is a huge.
Is it?
Huge
You
thing.
seem like an all-around good guy. I got to be honest with you. We've met, 4 or 5 times on the show. We've eaten at Benedict's. You seem like an all-around good guy.
I am that, but I'm tough to deal with. At
Yeah,
times.
so, yeah, but look what you do for a living. I think it's amazing. I really do. I mean, I get some pleasure when I give a senior a reverse mortgage. I do, but it's not like helping them through. It's not like expanding the independence. I'm helping them maybe pay for you.
Yes.
So there's some fuzzies in my heart, but it's not what you do.
I have strong opinions, and I'm pretty stubborn, and things, so it comes out every once in a while.
Well,
yeah.
we're going to let you voice those stubborn opinions on our podcast because that's going to be a little more.
Yes.
People.
I've heard about that. I've been waiting for that to.
I know. We're waiting for this little eye thing. Can you notice? I know you can notice because I'm sitting here. Somebody email me, and can you notice that my right eye is closed out there in TV land? It's fine. My vision's coming back. Everything's fine. But since it's not 100%, when I open up this eye, I see double. But when I close this eye, since my left, so I should be fine in the next couple of weeks. Sometime. Oh my God! Look, I'm telling a story. There's 17 seconds left. All right, no handshake, elbow. You'll come back with a healthcare person soon.
Absolutely.
Next week, Mr. Stephen Sless to talk about reverse mortgages. As I've said in the past, I think when I do it, it's too self-serving. He's a great guest. We have a lot of good guests coming. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you learned.